It's obviously been a tough week, and I just think there's a lot of inaccuracy out there. I mean, I'm just obviously disheartened. You know, I'm a human too. I have a family. I have 2 kids who are devastated by these comments, and so all I'll say is just, you know, it's obviously been a tough.
Imagine the biggest night of your career. The championship is on the line. The crowd is roaring and all eyes are on you. Now, imagine that roar turning into a wall of pure, unfiltered boos. This isn't a nightmare. This was a reality for WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, and it was just the beginning of a downfall that would shock the sports world. What could make thousands of fans turn on the leader of a league they love? And what happens when the very athletes who built that league publicly declare they've had enough? The story that about to unfold is one of broken trust, leaked conversations, and revolt that reached the highest levels of basketball. If you think you know what's going on in the WNBA, think again. Stick around, because this video will expose the shocking truth behind the league's biggest crisis. And before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed. This is a story you won't want to miss, and we have all the explosive details.
Well, obviously, this is a commissioner under fire. You know, Cathy Engelbert under fire in the midst of CBA negotiations.
The public humiliation was even more visceral than it first appeared. As Engelbert took the microphone, the boos from the Phoenix crowd were so loud and relentless that her message of congratulations was nearly drowned out. The hostility didn't let up. She was booed repeatedly throughout the ceremony, even as she stood beside the league's biggest stars to present Aya Wilson with the finals MVP trophy. The scene was starkly awkward, with Aces players seemingly ignoring Commissioner as she stood beside them during the post-game celebration. The fans' message was not just a momentary lapse, but a sustained, full-throated rejection captured for the sports world to see. This wasn't an isolated incident, but a reflection of a deep-seated frustration that had been building for months, finally exploding on the league's biggest stage.
I was disheartened to hear that some players feel the league and me personally do not care about them or listen to them, and if the players in the W don't feel appreciated and valued by the league, then we have to do better.
The reaction was so powerful that it defined the championship moment, shifting the focus from the Aces' dynastic achievement to the profound disconnect between the league's leadership and its most passionate supporters. This public display signaled that the internal discontent had fully boiled over into the public arena, creating a defining moment that would put immense pressure on the commissioner's office. The spark for this firestorm was lit days earlier by Minnesota Lynx star and executive committee member Phee Collier. In a damning 4-minute exit interview, Collier didn't just criticize specific policies. She delivered a sweeping verdict, labeling the WNBA's leadership as the worst in the world. Her criticism specifically highlighted Engelbert's notable lack of personal relationships with players. The response from the players' union was swift and decisive.
The pressure is officially on. It's officially hitting a boiling point. Cathy Engelbert is not the WNBA's future. Look at the rest of this headline. Soon, the commish may not even be its present. It's a
Union President Nneka Agwamike's initial thought upon seeing the comments was, "I agree," and she felt proud of Collier's display of leadership. This sentiment echoed across the league. Elizabeth Williams, another member of the union's executive committee, publicly stated, "Phee speaks for me." This immediate and unified support from key union figures and other top players demonstrated that Collier's comments were not a lone grievance, but collective feeling finally given a powerful voice. It revealed an erosion of the relationship between the commissioner and the players that had been building for years, turning a private frustration into a public ultimatum for change.
Her response was, "Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything." And in that same conversation, she told me, "Players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got."
The specific allegations from the private conversation were even more explosive than initially reported. According to Collier, Engelbert's comments were dismissive and patronizing. She alleged that the commissioner said Caitlin Clark should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. This remark, in particular, framed the league's success as a top-down benefaction rather than a partnership with athletes. Engelbert flatly denied making these comments, stating, "Obviously, I did not make those comments," and praised Clark as a transformational player. However, the denial did little to quell the anger. For many players, this alleged conversation confirmed a long-standing perception that the commissioner's language and intent often felt like a demand for gratitude rather than an acknowledgement of a true partnership.
Have you lost your damn mind? You out your rabbit-ass mind? Oh, my man, fire this lady. Packer, how dare you? How dare you say something like...
It wasn't just what was said, but how it was said, with players like Kelsey Plum noting, "It's not just what she says, but how she says it." This incident became the focal point for broader frustrations about respect and valuation. The players' solidarity in the wake of Engelbert's denial was palpable and powerful. At the championship press conference, Aces point guard Chelsea Gray delivered a pointed message that resonated as the players' unified response. She stated, "When you have great players, you need to treat them like that, and that's top to bottom. And that's payment, that's treatment, that's revenue share. There's no league without the players." Her teammate, Aya Wilson, visibly supported this, at one point succinctly adding, "They're playing in our faces." Wilson had previously expressed she was disgusted with Engelbert's alleged comments.
Disheartened by how Nafisa characterized our conversations and league leadership, but even when our perspectives differ, my commitment to the players and to this work will not waver. There's no answers in this. I get it. I think this is just an immediate knee-jerk reaction, just trying to say, like, I'm disappointed with how she painted me, but there's no solution.
This public backing from the league's biggest stars, just moments after winning a championship, underscored that the discontent was not a peripheral issue, but a central crisis. The players were not just nodding in agreement behind the scenes. They were using their most prominent platforms to call for a fundamental shift in how they are valued, turning a celebratory moment into a powerful statement for change.
Searing comments from Phee Collier in her exit interview.
The anger was fueled by concrete, systemic issues beyond the personal allegations. The most immediate pressure point is the contentious collective bargaining agreement, CBA, negotiations. The league is staring down an October 31st deadline to reach a new deal, and players have described the talks as making no progress, with a work stoppage now seeming inevitable. The central tension is player compensation, which players feel lags far behind the league's recent massive revenue growth. Furthermore, officiating consistency has been a major point of contention throughout the season and playoffs. This was highlighted when Phoenix Mercury coach Nate Tibbetts was ejected from the clinching finals game after what he called one of the weakest double technicals ever, an incident that brought the officiating crisis to the forefront of the league's final night. These two issues, fair pay in a growing league and the quality and safety of the game environment, represented the foundational grievances that Collier's comments brought to a head.
Cathy Engelbert, the commissioner of the league. Doggy, Peter, Monica, let me say for the record, you should resign. You need to resign, period. Reason I say that, Doggy, is because when a player, any player, but especially one of that magnitude, attacks you publicly like that, that weak-ass statement Commissioner Engelbert gave is not good enough. And I'm going to say it. It was a weak...
The final breakdown in communication was a definitive moment. Following Engelbert's public denial, which directly contradicted Collier's account, the Link star canceled a meeting the two had tentatively planned for the following week. This was not a mere scheduling conflict. It was a deliberate and powerful act of defiance. By refusing to sit down with Engelbert, Collier signaled a complete breakdown of trust. This canceled meeting stripped the commissioner of a critical lifeline, a chance to clear the air, manage the media narrative, and demonstrate a path toward resolving the conflict. It left Engelbert isolated, with no clear avenue to repair the relationship with one of the league's most respected veterans and a key voice in the players' union. This move demonstrated that for the players, the time for private conversations had passed.
When a star player says directly, "We have the worst leadership in the world and you are the leader," your response that you're disheartened, that your perspectives differ, makes me wonder if you heard what Phee said. Because it's not differing perspectives. It was a direct call.
The bridge to reconciliation wasn't just burned, it was completely demolished, signaling that the players were moving beyond dialogue and toward direct demand for accountability. As the crisis in the WNBA spiraled into a full-blown public relations disaster, it was inevitable that the pressure would climb right to the top, to the one man with the ultimate power and authority to fix it, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. This was no longer contained fire within the WNBA office. It had become a five-alarm blaze threatening the entire basketball ecosystem Silver oversees. Remember, it was Silver who personally hired Cathy Engelbert back in 2019, plucking her from a long and successful career as CEO of Deloitte to become the WNBA's first ever dedicated commissioner. This was his visionary pick, a move hailed as a new chapter for the league, intended to bring corporate savvy and fresh leadership.
This is the dumbest league run by absolute morons. I've been saying it forever. The way they market the league, the way now they talk to the players, so I agree.
But now, the very executive he entrusted with shepherding the WNBA through its most promising era was the central figure in its most devastating internal crisis. For Silver, a commissioner renowned for his player-friendly approach and crisis management skills, this situation represents a profound threat. The relentless boos from the championship crowd, the open revolt from the league's most respected veterans, and the daily torrent of toxic headlines are no longer just a reflection on Engelbert. They are a direct indictment of Silver's own judgment and a stain on the legacy he is building for the entire sport. The stakes for Commissioner Silver are astronomically high, extending far beyond the immediate drama.
You guys, so it's a Friday evening. The WNBA finals are starting actually right now, but Cathy Engelbert decides to do a press conference to address everything that is currently going on in the league, and specifically everything that is currently going on circling around her and the problems within the league. And she's doing that 30 minutes before the WNBA finals start. In this press conference, this did not quiet anything that's going on social.
The WNBA is in the midst of its most critical period in history, experiencing unprecedented growth in viewership, attendance, and cultural relevance. This golden opportunity, however, is incredibly fragile. The league is simultaneously navigating its next media rights deal, a negotiation that will define its financial future for the next decade. How can the WNBA present a unified, thriving product to potential broadcast partners when its own players are publicly calling its leadership the worst in the world?
Cathy Engelbert plays Vic. I have a family, man. I have a family too. Cathy Engelbert plays victim, using her family as a shield. I got a family. I got kids.
Furthermore, the league is engaged in the incredibly delicate process of expansion, with cities vying for a team and investors carefully weighing the risks. This kind of public turmoil and clear animosity between the league office and its players is a massive red flag that could devalue expansion fees and scare off crucial corporate partnerships. For Adam Silver, who has masterfully grown the NBA's global brand, the chaos in the WNBA is no longer a side project. It's a cancer cell that, if not contained, could damage the perception and financial health of the entire basketball world he presides over. The most immediate and dangerous pressure point for Silver is the looming collective bargaining agreement negotiation, with the players' union having opted out and a hard deadline approaching. The talks were already described as making no progress.
What they do off the court.
Yeah, obviously, I did not make those comments. Caitlin has been a transformational player in this league. She's been a great...
Obviously, I did not make those comments. Obviously. That sounds like somebody who doesn't care if a tape comes out. Obviously, I didn't. She's embellishing. She's making it up.
Now, the personal animosity towards Engelbert has poisoned the well entirely. How can productive, good faith negotiations occur when the players have explicitly stated they have no trust in the lead negotiator? The union's executive committee, including the vocal Phee Collier, would be forced to sit across the table from a commissioner they have publicly labeled as delusional and disrespectful. This creates an impossible scenario for Silver. He now faces a binary choice. He can allow Engelbert to continue leading these talks and risk a near-certain work stoppage that would halt the league's incredible momentum, or he can make a dramatic change to salvage the season. A player lockout or strike in the WNBA right now, at the peak of its popularity, would be a catastrophic, self-inflicted wound that would undo years of progress and alienate a generation of new fans.
Shout out to everybody on Twitter, bro, because the internet is undefeated. Now, Cathy looking real goofy right now because, the homeboy Mike said it. This is what I was talking about. What the F are you so worried about Caitlin Clark endorsement money for? Now, Correlation was the one who originally found this. Shout out to Correlation. Let's listen.
Well, let me clarify first, because it's proxy season, right? No CEO do you just put the base pay in there. You put their bonus, you put their stock options, you put everything. Caitlin has the ability to make up to $500,000 just in WNBA wages this year. So, of course, they're just looking at a base which is collectively bargained. And actually, it's low because she's the number one pick. She'll make a little more than that. But she also has millions and millions of dollars of endorsements.
Pocket watching. Why you counting her endorsements? What do her endorsements got to do with her
Adam Silver did not become one of the most powerful figures in sports by allowing avoidable disasters to happen. Whispers have already begun circulating through league circles that a major change is not just possible, but imminent. Influential sports analysts have openly called for Engelbert's resignation, and major publications have run headlines questioning her future. The narrative has been set. The question is no longer if Adam Silver will be forced to act, but when and how. He possesses a range of options, each with its own political ramifications. He could publicly back his commissioner, but that would mean betting against a unified voice of the players and the court of public opinion, a massive gamble. He could engineer a quiet, behind-the-scenes transition, perhaps framing it as Engelbert's decision to pursue other opportunities after a successful tenure. Or, in the face of an unworkable situation, he could make the swift and decisive move that many are calling for, removing her to restore faith and clear the path for a productive CBA negotiation.
First of all, I have great respect for Phee, and I think she made a lot of very valid points. And I think what people need to understand, we need great leadership in this time across all levels. This is straight up the most important moment in this league's history. This league's been around for 25 plus years, and this is a moment we have to capitalize on. So that's honestly what I would say. I think Phee said it all.
Every day Silver waits. The damage deepens. The players are watching. The fans are watching. The potential business partners are watching. The legacy of the WNBA's transformative moment and Adam Silver's role as its steward now hinges on his next move. The ball is officially in his court. This leaves the WNBA standing at a monumental crossroads, facing a decision that will irrevocably define its future for decades to come. The league is currently experiencing a golden era of unprecedented growth in mainstream attention, with soaring ticket sales, landmark television deals, and a new generation of fans electrified by superstar talent. Yet, paradoxically, it is being led by a commissioner that its most essential stakeholders, its players and its most dedicated fans, have loudly and unequivocally rejected.
Collier has said, absolutely not. You called me a liar, and you know I'm not lying.
This is a central conflict of this moment. The incredible product on the court is being undermined by a profound crisis of leadership off it. The league has the momentum of a runaway train, but it's headed straight for a cliff of its own making if the fundamental issue of trust is not resolved. The players are not just asking for a better business deal. They are demanding a cultural reset, a leadership that sees them as partners in this journey, not merely as employees who should be grateful for a seat at the table. As speculation about Cathy Engelbert's replacement intensifies, the conversation naturally turns to who could possibly step into this high-pressure role and successfully rebuild the fractured trust.
A great post here from Sophie. So Sophie Cunningham on Instagram. So get ready to take your fine, Sophie. Get ready to take your fine. People only know Cathy because of Caitlin. She's the most delusional leader our league has ever seen. And it shouldn't even be about our commissioner in the first place. He's not wrong.
The names circulating among fans and analysts are not random. They represent a clear desire for a specific type of leader, one with undeniable basketball credibility and a proven track record of understanding the athlete's perspective. Championship-winning coach Sandy Brondello has emerged as a top contender for a reason. Having just led the New York Liberty to a title, she operates with a modern, player-centric approach that has earned her the deep respect of her roster. She understands the X's and O's, but more importantly, she understands the human beings playing the game. Her experience navigating the pressures of a major market and managing elite egos is seen as the exact kind of practical, hands-on leadership the league office currently lacks. She wouldn't need a briefing book to understand the players' grievances about travel, officiating, or marketing. She has lived it alongside them on the front lines.
When the attention starts showing up on National Basketball Association Commissioner Adam Silver, and people start glancing in his direction, that this is partially his fault, Engelbert is going to be out And she's got
another name that generates immediate excitement is basketball legend and trailblazer Nancy Lieberman. Her credentials are not just impressive. They are foundational to the history of women's basketball. As a Hall of Famer who battled for respect in eras where there was little to be found, and as the first woman to coach a professional men's team, Lieberman commands a level of respect that is simply unassailable. She embodies the struggle and the triumph of the women's game. For a league grappling with its identity and feeling a disconnect from its roots, appointing a figure like Lieberman would be a powerful symbolic gesture. It would signal a return to core values, a leadership that speaks the language of the players because it helped write the very dictionary of the sport. Her presence would instantly legitimize the office of the commissioner in the eyes of many who feel the current leadership views the WNBA as a corporate asset rather than a sporting legacy. The choice before the powers that be, ultimately overseen by Adam Silver, is now stark and unavoidable.
Get rid of her so we can negotiate. Adam Silver is going to have to make the decision to fire Cathy Engelbert so that there can be a 2026 WNBA season.
The league can continue on its current path under a cloud of distrust and animosity, hoping the public controversy eventually fades. But this is a dangerous gamble. This strategy risks alienating the very players who are the league's lifeblood, potentially leading to a protracted labor stoppage that would shatter the current momentum. It tells a fan that their boos were heard but ignored. Alternatively, the league can make a bold, courageous change. It can acknowledge that while the business has grown, the human connection is broken, and it can place a new leader at the helm who truly listens to the legends on the court. This isn't just about swapping one executive for another. It's about choosing a new philosophy. It's a choice between a top-down corporate model and a collaborative partnership built on mutual respect.
You see this. This is The Athletic. By the way, The Athletic, owned by the New York Times. Yikes. Yikes. The pressure is officially on. It's officially hitting a boiling point. Cathy Engelbert is not the WNBA's future. Look at the rest of this headline. Soon, the commish may not even be its present. It's a wrap.
The players, through their unified and brave statements, have made their stance undeniably clear. The fans, through their vocal disapproval and passionate online advocacy, have made their voices thunderously heard. They have all done their part. The final, decisive move now rests with the people in power. The question hanging over the entire basketball world is no longer about what is wrong, but whether those in charge have the wisdom and the courage to make it right. The future of the WNBA, its historic potential, and its very soul are waiting for an answer. This is more than a business decision. It is a test of legacy. This is one of the most dramatic stories in sports right now, and it's far from over. What do you think Adam Silver should do? Should he fire Cathy Engelbert or give her another chance? And who would you pick as the next commissioner? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. If you made it to the end, you know this is a story you need to stay updated on. Don't miss what happens next. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you're the first to know when this saga takes its next shocking turn. Thanks for watching.